It's been a long discussion on a budget this year. We really started that process last September in our caucus, preparing for what we knew was going to be a difficult budget year. The governor presented his budget in February. We passed our first budget in April. The budget passed with the Senate in June. We've had a number of different starts and stops since then with the Senate and with us and with the administration. And look, when you're dealing with a difficult budgetary decisions, you're never going to be left with the good versus the bad. You're just left with difficult choices all around. When you look at what potentially could have happened over the last 3 years, there were almost $15 billion worth of taxes on the table, and we've basically been able to budget 3 years, balance 3 years budgets without doing billions of dollars worth of taxes. We had to make some difficult decisions, keep our tax code up with technology, with the online marketplace, and with digital downloads last year. Some tobacco funding from last year, and then leveraging the tobacco settlement fund this year. But all in all, finally got a gaming bill done, sent to the governor. The non-preferreds are done. We can move on to other issues, and I think that's a good thing.
Dave, why is this gambling bill a good idea?
Look, I don't think there's anything in this gaming bill that is not already happening in Pennsylvania. Where you look at the ancillary sites, we already have 10 casinos in this state. You look at the iGaming, everybody can go on their iPhone right now and use international companies. Now we'll finally have a regulated product where we're getting tax revenue in the state. The VGTs, again, they're already happening in the state in the underground economy. Some estimates are almost 40,000, VGTs that are out there. So I think finally we're gonna have regulated products, and we're gonna get tax revenue that's gonna help not just the lottery or the property tax relief fund, but also the general fund. And that was one of the holes we had from last year's budget. So it finally coming to fruition, I think moves us, closer to where reality is, and is going to help out the taxpayers as well.
After 4 months of waiting to balance the budget, what does this vote mean today for Pennsylvania taxpayers?
I think it means we can move on. I think we balance a budget. We took care of the difficulties from last year's deficit. We balanced this year and actually looked forward to next year as well. And so it was really a 3-year budget approach. We'll see how things turn out. Revenue estimates so far have been positive for this year. Hopefully that trend will continue and decisions will get easier instead of harder.
Do you have a plan on what you want to move forward to? What things you'll work on the rest of the year, in the spring?
Look, that discussion will start almost immediately. When you have a budget like this looming out there, and it's not just this year. I mean, let's be honest, it's really been 8 straight years of difficult budgets since the recession hit in 2008. I think a lot of folks would like to talk about some other issues out there. The Senate's still been working on the property tax elimination issue. We've got some unemployment comp and worker comp issues out there as a result of court cases. I think a lot of folks have expressed some desire to talk about, business tax reform globally, whether our tax system is really where it should be in the year 2017. So, we'll go from there. I'm sure there'll be other issues that come up as well, but having a budget behind us allows us to head in that direction.
To Mark's question, could this budget have been done without a gaming expansion?
I think you could have potentially closed the budget for this year. I think the real concern would have been next year in that regard, because the balance sheet right now with all the revenue that we passed will actually carry over, or is projected to carry over 150 million to next year. And some of the funding from this year won't be there next year. So we wanted to try to look towards next year, and the gaming revenue has that possibility of becoming the recurring revenue that comes in, not just for a one-time shot, but over time will actually continue to grow. And we got the side benefit of the lottery fund, which has seen some struggles in recent years, and the property tax relief fund with it.
You're saying so like the fee revenue is going to carry over into next year? Is that like $200 million?
Well, I think the fee revenue is the upfront revenue, but once everything gets up and running, then you have the actual tax revenue associated with the new facilities, the VGTs, the iGaming, which will carry on, for years ahead.
Any concern that a legal challenge could derail some of that, say on any casino?
Look, I think when it comes to legal challenges, pretty much so everything we do nowadays gets challenged legally in the courts. I think that's an unfortunate situation, but it is what it is. In that regard, it doesn't matter whether it's gaming, budgets, pensions, you name it, everything seems to get challenged by the courts. Everybody likes to sue everybody else. So, we did the very best we could. We think obviously this meets the standard that's already been out there. We have no commitment left legally to the existing casinos. That 10-year window is up. So their 10-year buffer of having a monopoly on that system is over. So I don't know what their actual grounds to challenge it would be, but I'm sure they'll find one.
Dave, there were a lot of sweetheart provisions in the casino bill. You heard about some of them on the floor. I'm sure you're aware of it. How necessary was it for that stuff to
Look, I
pass
think
the bill?
most of the decisions on the local LSA money, we left in the hands of the folks locally within those regions. Some of them came to an agreement with one another, but the important thing for us was that that money was the money that was already going to those local communities. If they want to divvy it up a little bit differently, so be it, as long as the money from a state perspective is going where we need it to go, the lottery, the property tax relief fund, and the general fund. So, if local fund folks want to do something a little bit different with their local money, that's in their hands.
And
Some
repealing the
representatives complained about the speed with which this moved, saying they didn't feel they had time to properly vet it. Do you feel your members had time to vet it?
We've been talking about gaming for 4 years in the House. I know the Senate's been talking about it for another 2 years. At some point, you've got to actually put it up for a vote. You got to go on the record. You got to make a decision. And I think the vote is a testament to, the majority of the folks felt they had more than enough time. And I think a large number of folks who were even no votes, look, they were just against gaming. That's okay. They've never been for gaming. They'll never be for gaming. That's okay, but it wasn't going to change anybody's mind.
repealing the cap on casino ownership, how necessary was that?
Well, that is a result of a court decision as well, and it's my understanding that that has a potential impact for the last, I think, Cat 1 license from the original gaming bill down in the city of Philadelphia. So, that's an additional $50 million in a license fee that comes into the general fund. It's important.
You think it'll move the lawsuit essentially?
We certainly hope so.
Governor Tom Wolf still saying he wants to see a severance tax vote. I know it's on the calendar. Is there any chance we're going to see that in the next month, the next 2 months?
Look, it's on the calendar, it's on second consideration. I know there's a lot of conversations going on with the 350 amendments out there to see if folks can work through some of those amendments. We're not going to prevent a vote. It's going to come up when it's going to come up, but I anticipate you're going to see a vote on that issue and a number of other issues that folks want to have votes on, and that's okay. The majority will decide, and we'll see where we go from there.
And as you said, we can move on. So where do we go from here?
Well, hopefully the governor either signs or lets all these bills become law, and then we start focusing on some other issues. And look, we always need to, given the economic times we're in, keep an eye towards next year's budget as well. And look, there's some exciting job creation opportunities out there right now with this Amazon potential that I know at least 3 applicants in Pennsylvania, 3 regions are pursuing. That's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for 50,000 jobs in the state. Let's get back focused on jobs, property tax elimination, tax reform overall. I think there's a lot of things we'd like to talk about instead of budgets.
There's not a lot of revenue buffer in this budget. I know we're always, planning on how the economy's going to do, but, how beholden are we to, how revenues come in this year?
Look, every year we're going to be beholden to how revenues come in, just, because we've been a little bit slow getting out of the recessionary period that started in 2008. At least through the first 2 or 3 months, we've been ahead of schedule as opposed to last year. We were already several $100 million behind. But look, we're always going to be subject to if there's a big dip or, hopefully a big peak in revenues. So far, so good for this year, but you don't truly know those numbers until you get to March and April when you get the big year-end gross receipts tax filings and the personal income tax
Do you
filings.
think we're particularly vulnerable right now to the, ups and downs?
I think we passed more than enough revenue for this year and to carry forward some revenue for next year. That's why we looked at both years together to try to help safeguard a little bit towards that. But again, you don't know what's going to happen out there tomorrow nationally that could impact Pennsylvania. Hopefully nothing. Hopefully things continue to move forward. If not, we'll have to deal with it. That's our job.
All right, guys.
Okay. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks very much.